the most impressive performance of the day, the statement performance of the day. What an outing from the Buffalo Bills. When I went back and rewatched the game and even watching it in real time today, it just felt like the ideal version of this Bills team, where you have the splash plays from the quarterback when you need them. You have that anaconda-like defense that we've talked about in the past. Every element of what the Bills can be at their best, they were today against the Dolphins team that had been lighting up the league for the first 3 weeks. So I can't really say enough about how the Bills played pretty much for the entire first 3 quarters in this game today.
Yeah, just looking up right away, felt like for the first quarter, for the very least, the first quarter and a half, them just going blow for blow, the Dolphins and the Bills. I was starting to look up like most first downs in a game, most points scored in a game. I was starting to look those up because that's kind of how I started feeling about that game.
It felt like we were on that track for sure.
Oh yeah, I was like, how did Rams Chiefs go again? But I was just watching it and blown away, and just I think eye test will tell you what Josh Allen felt like today, and this is his best form of this Bills offense. And I think it's, again, you want to see, this is exactly, they're showing the spaces and the areas that you can attack this Dolphins defense did. This is what we talked about on our Thursday show, that like if the Bills do these kind of newfangled things that they're leaning into and they actually do them well, like they have in the season, like they're going to tear them up. And sure enough, that's what you saw. You saw the play action passes. You saw the run game. You saw Stephon Diggs getting targeted all on the left-hand side away from Howard the entire game. 6 of his 7 targets were up from the left-hand side of the field. So it was a long day for Kader Kuhu. But Josh Allen's on fire. Like any stat you look at, success rate, EPA per dropback, EPA per attempt, all the good stuff, all the letter acronyms that we throw at you guys every single show. First or second, this was Josh Allen's best game or second best game ever, like playing in playoffs or regular season. And he just tore him up. And just this offense, he only had one true designed run today, and that was the touchdown. And that's what we want to see. We want to see this offense not have to lean into it, but unleash it when they need to, when they can. They go, hey, we got an opportunity here in the red zone. Boom. Okay, Josh Allen, go run the ball. But we don't have to rely on it. It's not 7, 8 times. He only scrambled a couple times, and they weren't that great for him. It was truly from the pocket with a balanced run game to take the load off from, to ease the game in, ease the game flow, be efficient, and it just looked fantastic. The whole operation looked amazing.
I love the balance when they're playing at their best, when he has a scalpel and a sledgehammer at the same time. Like, that's the best version of this Bills offense, and that's what it was today. I mean, there was a couple different stretches where he just did such a good job of, all right, I got my back in the flat. We have Trent Sherfield lined up in the backfield. It's 3rd and 2. I'm going to hit him in the backfield really quick. We're in empty. I'm going to hit Kincaid on a little stick. I see a blitz coming. I'm calling it out. I'm replacing the blitzer with a completion of Dawson Knox. And then you have those sledgehammer plays. You have all the throws one-on-one outside the numbers to Stephon Diggs. You have the play out of structure that he floated to James Cook down the right sideline. Yeah. You have the Mitchell shot touchdown to Gabe Davis, which that one I think is worth pointing out. The touchdown to Gabe Davis, so much credit goes to Josh Allen in this game. Ken Dorsey's doing a pretty good job. Like, they are dialing up the right stuff. That was a beautiful play. They have a fake orbit motion swing. He pumps the swing, gets the corner to take one step up, and then hits Gabe Davis, who kind of stalk blocks for a second and then hits the rail for the touchdown.
And so Stephon Diggs is not in that play. So it's a run. And
even better.
Boom, double move.
So that's the combination of everything, where they're operating in this precision-like manner that we want to see them operate in. Their play calls and just the designs and some of those high leverage moments are correct. And then when he has to burn you down just because of the type of player he is, whether it's that Cook play, the off-schedule Stephon Diggs touchdown where he steps up in the pocket and he ad-libs that, everything acting in cohesion, in concert, to create the best version, the version we hoped we'd see this offseason from the Bills.
Just those under center throws just showed like his new kind of chaotic discipline in his own way. Like on the first drive, he hits like a comeback to Stephon Diggs, not like a comeback to Stephon Diggs. I think it goes for 17 yards. And on that play, he's just backpedaling in the pocket, and it still comes out on time and perfect ball placement. So he's still operating on time, but he's moving away from a pass rush. So that's truly pocket movement, even if it'll technically be out of the pocket because he was backpedaling. Then all these were on, he had 5 under center plays. I think all of them were play action. So that was the comeback play right there I just talked about. Then he had a quick hitter. So you're seeing him just doing like the quick operation and just seeing this gifts, how quick of a thrower he is, the connection he has with Diggs. And then the 55-yard touchdown to Diggs on the catch and run, or where he breaks the tackle. That one was great because on that play, it's just true mirrored routes on the outside. They truly tag just two routes, the same exact routes on the outside, which is a deep hinge route, which is like 16, 18 yards and stop. But on that play, they have three check down routes underneath. And so it's a play action. Usually, play action, you want to influence the middle of the field and then throw over the top of it.
Yeah.
But that play action was let's keep the kind of buzz, like flat defenders tied down. And then they had another guy, the running back, come up through the middle. So they have three tie down routes and then did true isolated routes on Stephon Diggs. So truly creating these isolations. And so that's what it is. It's design. Josh Allen sprinkle in his little crazy plays and on time plays, and then sprinkle in the run game that's nice and efficient. And that's a little sledgehammer for them too, because they're just beating these teams up with duo, which is just an at you beat them up play. So it's pretty cool watching this whole package come together very, very nicely.
And the other thing I was going to mention, the protection on that Diggs touchdown is fantastic. He has time to let that play develop and to let that throw rip. And the offensive line, we keep coming back to it. The improvements on the interior of the offensive line, you see it over and over and over again with the integrity of the pocket in those moments where there's a little longer developing plays and their ability to run the ball downhill at you when they want to. So the offense, it was the best version of it today. And when he's playing like this, he is right there behind the number 15 guy in Kansas City is the best player in the league. Like full stop, no questions asked.
Oh, absolutely. Can go toe to toe. And that's what, and it was just crediting Ken Dorsey is we heard so much about the 12 personnel. Today it was all 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, but also they just sprinkled in the 21 that they've used before with Gilliam. But on all these plays, that last touchdown to Diggs, he had 3 today, it was a jumbo personnel. It was 3 wide receivers, but with the 6 offensive linemen. And basically what they said on that play was just hold up for 2 seconds because we have Stephon Diggs with a matchup we love. And so that sometimes football is that simple. It's just block it up for 2 to 3 seconds and just let them rip. Just let your aces go, your queens on the chessboard go. And that's what they do on top of the team element. It's just a very complete, like where they're able to pivot in different aspects right now.
That's what I was going to say, because we always think of them as this complete roster with a lot of contributors. And then today was such a reminder that Stephon Diggs is really fucking good. Like if you put him in those situations where he has a matchup advantage, you can keep picking at that the entire game.
Yeah.
And eventually it becomes the biggest, most important aspect of their passing game. And it was awesome to see. Let's go to the other side of the ball because that was the more intriguing side of the ball coming into this game. The Dolphins offense was rolling. We were joking about what their nickname would be coming out of week 4 based on some of the numbers they were putting up historically. What jumped out to you the most about either the Bills' game plan on defense or just their performance on defense today?
We are not letting you throw over the middle. And that was how they figured out a way to do it, different ways. Again, we talked about this on our Thursday show again, was that you're going to let up some to this Dolphins offense, no matter how well you play. It's just inevitable, even if it's tip throws. But even, speaking of like kind of Dolphins having a good play here technically, but the process of the Bills was great on this play. It was the Raheem Mostert dunk play.
Yeah.
On that play.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I thought the exact same thing.
They baited him. They baited too on this play. And this is
the communication was fantastic. Rapp knew exactly what was coming.
Oh, they ran. So it was just mesh wheel, which is so it's a running back on a wheel route, which is right up the sideline. And Tua thinks he's getting man or a pressure. And the Bills bring a simulated pressure. So they're bringing only 4 and they ran cover 2 behind it. And they hide it until right at the snap of the ball. And you don't throw a wheel against cover 2. That's not what you do because it's basically double coverage. It's terrible. And that's what happens. Mostert bails him out. And you could tell Tua's feet are telling him not to throw it. And that's like a classic, I should not be throwing this. But he does. Ends up being a good play. But there was a couple, they did that all day. The interception over the middle, Matt Milano bumps out with the motion and just jams Tyreek Hill. And Tua comes off of it right away. And then they're just pushing, and Bernard is just playing really well.
Fantastic,
and he's playing well in coverage. Yeah.
And that's what was so impressive is just that their ability to match routes in this game and just like completely understand what the concepts were going to look like, how they were going to unfold. They were all over everything. And just a reminder of how well coached and smart this entire unit is. Bernard dropping right in and being that sort of factor within this pass defense. We know it about Milano. We know it about the safeties, but Bernard's had some real splash plays over the last couple weeks. And we've talked about this is the guys that maybe weren't household names within this Bills defense and some of the
Mhm.
contributions that they're making. Another really good day from Leonard Floyd. Just they refused to be beat up on the edge in the run
Yeah.
game in this game. Him
Yep.
and Rousseau, I thought, really did a fantastic job of just establishing themselves at the point of attack. Ed Oliver had really good moments in the run game
Yeah.
today. And
He's
then
playing
again,
well.
that just like constriction that you feel when that pass defense is completely on it the way that they were throughout this entire game. It's really unlike maybe 2 or 3 defenses in the league. Like the Niners play like this when the Niners are
Yeah.
humming, but that's what the Bills can feel like when it's all clicking. Unfortunately, we're going to have to see them without Trey White here over the course of the rest of the season, which was
Unbelievable.
I haven't responded to a injury like that in a while, where
Oh,
I'm
it's
watching
tough.
him come off and I'm legitimately like starting to tear up because of how much he has been through, of how they were playing, clearly of just how frustrated and devastated he was in the moment. But
Yeah.
that's something that we can worry about down the line. What they looked like today was the sort of complete team, top to bottom, both sides of the ball that we thought they might coming into the year. This idea that this this Bills team, this version of the Bills,
Yeah.
could actually be the best version that we had seen so far. It's starting to look like that might be the case because they just have little contributors, little levers on offense and defense that they
Mhm.
really haven't had in the past.
And it's just this is what's great when teams most of the team gets to stick together and they just
Yeah.
add complementary parts and then you could just start seeing like, oh, we need this. Okay, let's get a guy right here. This fits in and just bump it up to competency. And then the guys that are there, the building blocks just build together. It's awesome. I just want one last play. I have to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I'm trying to avoid too much scheme talk, but it was
You go
just
nuts, buddy.
it's just overall how the Bills played, and again, this anaconda type defense. The Bills played the Dolphins play action concepts because they do so much out of the gun, and so when you do play action out of the gun, most of the time that fake is going to go straight to the flat, like all the just horizontal straight over there, and not in between the tackles. The Bills kind of figured this out, or kind of just leaned into this, and this is how good Bernard and Milano were playing. Was when that fake was happening, they're just saying, "Screw the flat." We're just getting back, back,
Yep.
back. And
Yep.
it's just that 2-3 zone. Arms up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And it's just, and then they just say, we'll rally to tackle. They don't want to throw the flat. They want to throw down, down, down. So let's just squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, and then rally to tackle. And it was just like, man, just those little things are awesome. When they did this against Washington last week, it's just watching this kind of vet defense just with a little bit more juice now. It's just really cool.
Even the corners too. They'd be
Yeah.
pressed up and then they would just retreat a little bit right at the snap and they were giving them all they wanted underneath and they just said like we're going to dare you to throw the ball underneath or throw the ball
Yep.
outside the numbers. And we don't think you'll be able to do that over the course of the entire game. And they didn't. So a top to
It's
bottom
cool.
performance that uh, even more impressive than you ever could have hoped for as a Bills fan. And a real statement for what this team wants to be, even with some of the injuries they sustained today. We'll see what happens at corner. You know, Kyrie Elam was inactive.
Yeah.
Christian Benford also got hurt in this game. So just something to monitor. But I think the Dolphins will be fine offensively
Yeah.
against lesser teams in the Bills and against
Yeah.
quarterbacks that don't have that sort of firepower that
It's
Josh Allen
just
does. But
O-line health is just mid-game O-line going down is never gonna work out,
no, Armstead's
especially if
injury
they're good.
and
Yeah.
the Connor Williams
Connor
injury showed
Williams,
up today.
center and left tackle.
The
That's
inability to get to those guys on the second level the way that they could last
yeah,
week when Connor Williams was playing, you noticed that in the run game in this game.
absolutely.
So but again, a fantastic performance from the Bills, and I'm
Yep.
sure one that we will revisit here as we talk about this team moving forward.